My thing is, if I need a t-shirt or if I need a medal to remember that I did the thing or to remember the experience, it must not have been that good of an experience. Like, I will never forget about Western States. Like, even if I never run it again, even if I never run another mile in my life, like, it really was. It lived up to the hype. Not a lot of things live up to the hype in my book, but Western States did.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 115 of the On the Run podcast. We are still on our break, our summertime break, but we had to come back real quick to talk about a couple badass women. One of them is my badass co-star, podcast host, 6-star Erika. What's up?
How you doing, man? You're sounding a little scratchy. What's going on with you?
Last week, I was so much worse. I had no voice. I couldn't even project anything, but I'm getting better. It just sucks I got sick during our summer break, because if I got sick during actual podcasting, I could have just called in a sub. Maybe someone like Mikala Shremshock. Mikala, what's up? Welcome back to the pod.
I'm glad to be here. It's nice to be a returning guest on the runs. You guys have improved the quality of this podcast so much over the. I mean, not that it was ever bad, but now I listen into episodes and I'm like, oh, this is a professional recording here.
We're big time now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. It was, but it was great at the same time. You were episode like 22, maybe 26. You're in their 20s there.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we weren't rolling weekly yet, but we were so close to doing it. And yeah, if you go back, so people who listened last week to our OTR classics, they heard episode 5, which was bad. And they heard episode yours, 22 or 26, whatever it was. I think it was 26. So they heard yours.
Uh-huh.
And I re-listened to that, right? To play for the classic, but also to refresh my mind about what we're going to talk about today, which I totally forgot everything. It was bad. It was bad, but it was so cool to listen to it and hear how things have happened. So thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. Like last time, we must have used Facebook Messenger, or were we on the phone? Was it phone or Facebook at the time?
I think it was Facebook, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue, honestly.
It was an adventure. We were learning, figuring a lot of things out, but now we're on YouTube. So I hope you did your hair and your makeup and you got everything ready. Brush your teeth. Erika has got some spinach in her teeth right there. She didn't floss, of course, but
I don't eat spinach. No,
we're here to talk about the 2 big ultramarathons the 2 of you did just last week. But real quick, Mikala, let's get like the 120-second rundown. What's up with you? What's new? What's changed?
No, I've been good. I've switched jobs a bunch of times, right? Like right after I found out I was getting into Western States, I found out I was getting a new job. So I had a whole bunch to learn. I had a whole bunch of training to do. I've been just traveling around the world, running and living a great life.
I've been watching you, and I think that's so cool. One of the ones that I saw you just did Comrades, right? And was that South Africa?
Yeah, that was my second Comrade. So if you do it for
so
2
cool.
years in a row, you get another special medal back to back. So that's now one of my favorite races, one of my favorite countries.
Very cool. How easy is it to get into that one, or is it very difficult? Because that one's a bucket list for me.
Yeah, you do have to have a qualifying marathon, but it's like 5 or 5.5 hours compared to like 3.5 hours is my Boston qualifying time. So
very nice.
You no longer work with me, or at least at the same company. We never really worked together, but that's how we met.
Yeah.
You left, or actually, sad news. I don't think you left. I think you were one of a lot who got let go.
Most of those things happen. It was not expected, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, of course.
Yes,
so, yeah.
That's good. I don't remember when we had you on, but I have moved on to same company. Everything else has changed, though. I'm no longer where I used to be. I'm even in a different building, different state, different everything.
You still have some very adorable children.
I do. Oh my God. Did you see their haircuts? They got haircuts.
No, I didn't see the haircut.
Oh, they really look like me now when I was their age. So yeah, it's they're hopefully being good downstairs right now. What was I thinking scheduling this on a Sunday night at 7 p.m.?
I was wondering that too. I was like, this is very off-brand.
Yes.
Usually it's like 9 o'clock on a Sunday
Yes,
night.
usually it's 9 p.m. I don't know what I was doing. But
I would
Adeline,
find that invite for sure. Yeah.
well,
I don't think I could have stayed awake.
let's not take too long, but let's get into Western states. Mikala, if we remember right on your last episode, you kept getting lottery tickets. You would get them through all these races. You even did like this trifecta race, like 3 ultras and 3 weekends, and that got you like 3 tickets, 3 lottery tickets. You were never getting into Western states. But then last December, when you were in Millinocket, Maine, hanging out with our friend Lindsay,
Yes.
when we realized the 2 of you were there together doing a Millinocket marathon, while you're running in the marathon, they called your name.
Yeah. Usually I'm volunteering at a race on that weekend. And so I'm always like watching watching the wait list. But this year I kind of like completely forgot about it. I was probably at least 1 or 2 handles into Fireball on the Millinocket course.
As you should.
Yeah. And then I went to that bar that's right there at the finish line, the Blue Ox, and checked my phone. And my phone was like blowing up. All these people were like, "You're in, you're in." I was like, what is happening right now? Yeah, so that's how I found out that I was finally in for Western States, December 2nd or 3rd of last year. And I was like, I'm too hungover right now to even process this training plan.
Now, Erika,
Well,
do you remember you posted on your stories like, "Congratulations, Mikala," and I was like, "She's running a marathon right now," and you're like, "Oh my God, did I ruin the surprise?"
No, I felt kind of bad because we were just talking earlier about like watch parties for these kind of things. And I was actually glued to my phone. I was very invested because I myself had 1 ticket in there. But
Yeah.
I was like, for the love of God, please do not choose me. I'm not ready. So I got my wish. I did not make it in. But in between all of that, they chose you. And I was so excited for you. I'm like, oh, we know her. She finally got in.
They pronounced my name correctly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they did.
But
I don't think I've ever gotten it wrong since your episode, by the way. I'm pretty good
I
at it now.
correct them all the time.
Shremshock.
But yeah, we saw you and I was like, ah, so I sent a message and I posted whatever. And then he said that. I was like, oh no, I don't want to be the one to like ruin the surprise. Like, how else is she going to know? Like, I don't know. So I was worried for a little bit, but
the first one or not. But yeah, I didn't even have my phone with me probably when I was running. And so yeah, I wouldn't have. Yeah, but it was great to finish and then have that as a surprise. Like, oh, just keep training.
There's no slowing down.
Right.
Now, why don't you explain to me, how do they pick the names? Was it like a bunch of lottery tickets in a hat, or was it like a spinny thing and they pull a ball out with your number? How do they do it?
Bingo. Like, have you ever been to a church bingo with the tumbler wheel?
I know exactly what she's talking about. I love bingo.
Not
Spins around.
bingo.
I think maybe in the 90s, the grandparents did that maybe.
Okay, well, I've been required to go to them on numerous occasions.
Well, that's probably the form of entertainment you have in West Virginia. Bingo night.
Well, actually, Pittsburgh, it was where I always thought of it as, but yeah, that too. So yeah, it's this big tumble wheel, and I don't know who prints out all the names and everything and puts them in there, but somebody does. And
So
then
Erika,
they get different sponsors to pull out the names. So like,
Okay.
you're not drowned. Like the one guy isn't just saying names for 4 hours.
okay. So Erika, you had 1 lottery ticket. How many did you have, Mikala?
I think it was 32. So you get
And they roll over.
Well, they didn't used to roll over, right? So if you didn't run a qualifier one year, you lost all your lottery tickets.
Oh.
So like everybody that was in the lottery, like, most people get in by like the time they have 164 tickets, which I think is 10 years or something. So it's 2 to the n minus 1, where n is the number of years you've been in the lottery. Yeah, so all those people that have been in there for a really long time have run like a really hard race. Like they're not all 100s, but they're all really hard, like 100Ks or longer, for that many years in a row. So that's why it's such so many good long-term ultra runners end up at the race. But now they're letting you roll over your tickets, so nobody knows what's going to happen to the lottery.
So explain to me, if you had 30-something lottery tickets, is your name in that spinning wheel 30-something times?
Yeah.
So Like if your name got pulled again, do they just say, okay, she's already in? I'm getting okay.
Yeah,
So
and that
there's a
happens
chance.
too.
There's a chance they call your name like 30 something times.
That happens. I mean, not 30 times, but people's names do get called twice, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, that person's already in."
And now, last lottery question. Because you got in this year, if you want to go again next year via the lottery, do you start back at 0?
Yeah. Well, Western States is a qualifier for itself, so I'll have one lottery ticket to enter this fall in November. So I mean,
Okay.
and since they roll over, there's no reason not to. I feel like, but I'll be
I
on
know
the
what you're in
air of,
for
like,
if you get to do it again.
yeah, I'm not. I don't want to get pulled next year. That's for sure.
You need a break.
But there are people that Western States ends up being their first 100 miler. So like if you qualify with 100K or 70 miler, and it's your first year or even your second or whatever year, you may never have done 100 miler before, and I would be scared shitless.
Man, even having like now I have 2 under my belt, I'm still terrified. I don't know if I will go like put my name in again for for a ticket. I'm terrified.
My nickname has always been Fearless because like I just don't ever like comprehend fear, and I was so scared of this race.
That just goes to show you then how badass it actually is.
Yeah,
It means business.
You have the right level of fear, Erika. I don't want to dissuade you from doing it, but you have the right level of fear.
I might get you to crew me or something if I do ever get in. I'll be like, she knows what to do.
I'll be there.
All right, Fearless, real quick, tell me, how much fear do you have in your face when our friend Lindsay popped in front of you at the Millinocket Marathon? It was like, oh my God, hi. You don't know me, but hi. And she's wearing some elf costume or something.
And covered in glitter from head to toe. Too.
I mean, you had to be scared.
I think I had enough good coffee that morning that I wasn't like terrified, and I had kind of seen this green glow approaching from the side. It was all glittery and sparkly and green. I was like, oh, there's a thing coming.
Yeah. I think when I realized the two of you were there, I like instantly started a group chat. It's like, you two need to meet.
Yeah, no, it was so great to see her, and she helped me out with like where to go and stuff because there's not a lot of direction for that race.
Yeah, that's her race. That
She
she
loves
goes like
it.
every year. Yeah,
it's a really lovely race. I mean, it's super expensive, right? Domestic travel is so expensive. The race entry is free, but then there's like the 5K the night before, and then they ask for a donation, and then you have to go to the Elks Lodge, and it was super expensive weekend.
Well, I mean, it's a way for them to boost the economy. Hey, free race. You come here, you're going to spend your money here. You know.
Yeah, I was there for it. Yeah. I needed a marathon in Maine, and that fit the bill. So
there you go. There you go. All right. But enough jibber jabber there about our friends and everything. Western States, you finally got in. You told us about the lottery. Let's get all the details logistically and everything. When did you head down? Where did you stay? Did you get like used to the elevation there? You're near Tahoe, I think, or were you just like you showed up and you ran? Give us the details.
Yeah, so the one good thing that I will tell everybody about, and I really think they should do it, on Memorial Day weekend, the Western States Endurance Run organization puts on a training camp, and you can sign up for 1, 2, or all 3 days of the weekend. You don't have to be entered in the race to go. Like you just pay your money and go, and it's not cheap, but it's a nice thing. And you do like 70 miles of the course over the 3 days. So you don't do the very first part from the start to Robinson Flats, but you cover everything else. They don't have all the aid stations, but enough aid stations are there that, you're fine with just a regular pack. And it's the same aid station captains that are there on race day. So it gives you an idea of like who's going to be where and what kind of stuff's going to be at the aid station. They bus you to the start and finish. It was fantastic. If I had not done that, there's no way I would have finished this race. I might have even been too scared to even go to the race. But it was just nice to be in like a low stress. Like some people run it really hard. The elites come, they're at the front doing their thing. The rest of us are just back there like eating our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and chit chatting the whole day. So that was a really great way to like just put down some good vibes on the trail, see what everything looks like in the daylight, try to remember the names of like the landmarks and the climbs and the aid stations. But I'm not like such a good planner, especially with travel, because I travel so much for work all the time. And it's always like 2 days before I book a hotel, a week before I book a flight, I'm just not good at like real travel planning for myself. And so I don't know, I did book flights a while ago, and I was looking at them the week before, and I had scheduled myself to fly into Sacramento. That's the closest airport, at like 11 p.m. on Thursday night before the race.
Oh.
Like an hour and a half drive up to Auburn, which is like the nearest city, and then it's like an hour and a half drive from there up to Tahoe, where packet pickup is. And so I had a panic attack on like Tuesday that week, and I was like, this is such a terrible flight, Mikala. Why did you do that? So I hurried up and changed my flight to a direct flight that got me in at 8 p.m. So that at least made me feel
a little better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then I drove up to Auburn, went up to packet pickup on Friday, and I was doing this like a scientific research study they were doing on women ultra runners. So I had to be there at a certain time to get a DEXA scan for my bone density. And so I was running late and there was traffic on 80, you know, it was just a whole thing, of course. And you had to like pick up your race bib by 1 p.m. And I was like cutting it close for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was fine. And it was probably good for me because I didn't want to get like, I'm kind of the same way with serious marathon expos too. Like I want to go, I want to get to the bib pickup and then like, just let me leave. Don't make me go to all these vendors. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to breathe anybody's air. Just like, no. And so, you know, it's a big party atmosphere. I mean, it's in a ski village. All these crews and pacers are there. You know, it really is like the Olympics or something for ultra running.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good that I was running late and I was super stressed because I couldn't get involved with any of that. I forgot to bring it up here. But yeah, one of the organizations too, they made us all like starter trophies. They were just
Really?
like, they had your name and it had your bib number engraved on this wooden plaque. And it wasn't like a finisher's thing. It said, enjoy the journey. Like you made it to the start line. And I thought that was so epic. I was just like, they even fit my last name on it, everything.
That is a really different thing. Like I've never heard of that before, but that's really special.
You made it to the starting line.
Yeah. And, you know, for Western, it really is, right? So many people, and they brought this up at the pre-race briefing, and I thought it was going to be a lot more focused on like the elites and stuff. But they brought it up many times, like how hard it is for people to get into this race and what a journey it is. You know, I mean, you live a whole lifetime waiting to get into this race or more, right? You might have changed
Mm-hmm.
jobs, you might have moved countries, changed partners, you know, whatever. Like people go through a lot to get to that start line. And so, yeah, I just thought it was a really nice thing to have as recognition. So, yeah, so then I have all this cool swag. And I was telling Erika about it, like 10 days before the race, my SI joint on my hips just like twisted completely out of place, like a crunched soda can. It was probably like the flight back from South Africa, and then I was crawling around in my crawl space fixing some plumbing. And yeah, like I couldn't move for 36 hours, basically.
Oh, no.
I was in so much pain. So even like, you know, and I wasn't going to drop out of the race at this point. I'm like, well, I might as well at least go to the start line, make it to Robinson Flats, because that's where the training runs had started from. So I'll see that part of the course. But I was in so much pain, like I couldn't sit to make it through the flight even over there. Like I had an ice pack, I had these belts, I had all these like things on me. And so I really didn't know how it was going to go. But then I had all this cool gear from Packet Pickup. They gave you like a Hoka backpack and the Hoka slides, and you've got this little trophy thing already. And I was like, I really got to make it to the finish line now. So I go to drop off my drop bags. You had to drop them off on Friday, which is always great, right? Like that's one less thing to worry about once your drop bags are out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
No more decisions have to be made. And I couldn't find the one for the river crossing, Rucky Chucky. And that's where everybody wants to leave their shoes, you know, to change after they're wet. So I asked this woman, and you know, I'm just like a little ball of anxiety. Like I think people can just see me coming a mile away. And I'm nearing the cutoff when I have to drop off the drop bags. And I said, where's the Rucky Chucky? I thought there was going to be a Rucky Chucky. And she's like, calm down, honey, calm down. You just can't see it because everybody has their drop bags there. Everybody wants to take their shoes at Rucky Chucky. Where are you from? Is this your first Western state?
What gave it away?
So then she walked with me to like each one, made sure I got my drop bags in the right place. And I'm very anal about how they're labeled. I print them up on a printer and then I put them inside of FedEx labels, and that is taped to the back. So like there's no way people have to worry about reading my name. There's my phone number on there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just have a whole system. So she helped me put all my drop bags in the right place. And I said, oh, that's a really pretty belt that you're wearing. And she's like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, I got it at like some arts and crafts fair. You know, I just traded my hat to some lady who liked it. Do you want this belt? And I was like, well, Western States buckle would look nice on it. She's like, well, I'll be at the finish anyway. I'm the Green Gate aid station captain, so I'll come meet you at the finish. And I was like, are you serious? And so later on, like during the pre-race briefing, she came and said, well, do you just want it now? And I was like, oh no, absolutely not. Like there are so many obstacles in my way between here and Auburn. Like I need that belt as motivation. I need your generosity and kindness as motivation to get me there. So I didn't really like think any more of it. And she was the aid station captain at the aid station after Rucky Chucky. And she's like, Mikala, how are you doing? And it's like 2:00 in the morning,
Oh, yep.
I'm doing at mile 80 of an aid station of a 100-miler. And she's like, oh, you're going to finish. You're going to make it to Auburn, girl. And I'm going to see you there. And then I know I'm putting the cart before the horse. I'm telling this whole story wrong. But like with the mile to go in the race, her and her runner friend John came and met me, and they ran like the last little uphill with me. They ran me into the track. It was so sweet. And then she gave me my belt, and now I have a really good belt to put this belt buckle on. And I love that it's like a very girly belt, like it's flowers and it's purple, and it's not just like a.
I was admiring it. It's gorgeous because I don't have like a belt to display any of mine yet. I need to do some work, but that has an amazing story attached to it.
For the belt to come to you sometimes.
I think that's the plan. So Mikala, what kind of stuff did you put in your different drop bags, and how many drop areas were there? Because if you said you had like shoes in the one right after a water crossing, and then I'm curious to see how many you got.
I don't know that I've ever done an ultra with so many drop bag options, and it was terrifying for me. Usually I like there to be like one drop bag, not quite in the middle, but like at mile 55 or 60 or something, like halfway in terms of time. Or I like there to be 3, so I can break it up into 3 chunks. But there was just so many drop bag options. I was overwhelmed with the choices. And then since I'm a solo runner, like I don't have crew or pacers, I actually try to put my drop bags where like that chaos is not going to be, right? So if there's an aid station where there's no crew allowed, but I can't have a drop bag, that's a definite one. I like to change my shoes a lot, probably more than most people do. There was actually one place where I probably could have put an extra change of shoes that I just didn't realize how wet it was going to be at that first 30 miles. It worked out okay. So I had a drop bag with change of shoes at like 43. That must have been last chance. And then I had a change of shoes at Rucky Chucky. So I changed my shoes twice during that. And they were very different shoes. Like I had carbon fiber plates. I had like lots of trail feel, and then some like nice, cushy, pretty Hilmas. Do you know about Hilmas?
I do know about Hilmas, but you can tell me all you want about them. Happy to hear.
Well, they were my last pair because I knew like they don't do so well whenever they get wet, but they're like super comfy, and mine are like the ones I have now are purple. They're just very cushy and comfy, and they make me happy.
So that's the pair you need when your feet are dying and they hurt and you just need something nice and comfy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good.
Although I will say all of my shoes now are still sitting outside because they are just covered in red dust.
Oh.
Did you ever do like Grand Canyon hiking or like rim to rim to rim? It's the same thing. Like not only are those shoes trashed, but like any socks that you ever put inside of those shoes again are also trashed.
Fair enough. That's just, it's like glitter. Like you can never really get rid of glitter.
Yeah. And then obviously I put a bunch of food in my drop bags. I put an aid, like a little first aid kit in at least a couple of them. First aid for me is usually just a safety pin to pop blisters. So I usually have plenty of safety pins. My feet Didn't
you have like the safety pin trick you told us about when you were on last time? Wasn't that you? You were the one I think who said you always carry a safety pin to pop blisters, right?
I'm curious. I mean, my like vest and my running clothes are all covered in safety pins because you can like fix so much with a safety pin, right?
Yeah, I think that was you.
Stuff. Yeah, I don't know that it was, but
I don't know. If we paid attention to the classic last week, I think it was. But
I haven't listened. I haven't
somebody talked
to that
about
one yet.
that before.
Yeah, I mean, every runner that I know already has safety pins. Like in every cup holder in your car, do you not have 5 safety pins right now?
And then in my purse, in the glove compartment. Yep, everywhere.
Well, and I judge a race too by the quality of their safety pin, because sometimes they give you those like really bendy ones that are bendier than a paper clip, and you're like, dude, I do not trust the flagging on this course at all. Western States had perfect safety pins. They were super resilient, super sturdy. Yeah, they were great.
Point Western States. Here we go.
Yeah. 51 years, then figure a few things out. Yeah, they nailed the safety pins.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing by now.
Well, let's go to the starting line.
Okay.
Race day morning. This is the world's oldest 100-mile trail race. What was the vibe like? You've seen videos of these starting lines before at all these ultras around the world. What was the vibe like at Western States?
I think everybody was crying. I mean, they might not have been like tears streaming down their face, but I think everybody, regardless, was just like taking in the emotion of the moment. I mean, it's really a pretty small race, honestly, right? Like, there's only 300 runners there. There's a few more crew, but it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so a lot of the crew is not there. So it's wives, it's husbands, it's the really dedicated people there to see their runner off. And, for some people, this has been a lifetime in the making, or they've been coming back from some huge struggle, or, just whatever is going on to get you to the start line of any race, but just amped up a million times for this one. And the clock has been going there since the day before. So a lot of people come and see it during packet pickup and then see what happens later on. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely teary-eyed. And then you have this climb, like you can see the climb from the start line, so you know what kind of headache is in store for you with the breathing problems. So you're just like, I'm not going to get choked up. I'm not going to get choked up. Oh! Yeah, but it was, I would say, pretty much the same as any ultra. Like, there's not a lot of like jumping up and down and screaming and chanting like there is at like a marathon or something. Now I always sing Shosholoza to myself in the back of my head at the start of almost any race, because the start line of Comrades is like indescribable. I mean, unless you've spent a lot of time at a rave, I don't think you could possibly comprehend the start of Comrades. But yeah, so I have a mini version of that going on in my head now at the start of races.
Very nice.
So it looks like, I'm looking at your Strava, you definitely climbed over 2,000 feet in those first 3.8 miles or so. And at one point, you had a grade of over 25%.
Yeah, it's a nasty climb at the start.
Holy
I
shit.
was like still just worried about how my hips were going to do. So I was taking it really slow. And, like there's some fans out already, like cheering people on somberly, I would say as excited as you can be at 5 a.m. with only one or two coffee. And yeah, you're climbing up basically the ski lift, right? So like you're going to where the chairlift drops off. And I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but this adorable woman from Calgary, she and I were climbing together. And, like you go right where like a quad chairlift is. Like, I mean, it's a big thing. You can't miss the chairlift. And you've been walking up it this whole morning. And she walked right into the damn thing.
Oh, no. That's focus right there. You are so focused on getting up that you just tunnel vision and don't see.
It's gushing out of her nose.
Oh, my God.
How
she really hit
moving?
I mean, hiking, right? Like slow.
Yeah.
If it smacks you dead in the face, like anything, like you could just be like, poof.
Well,
good-natured about it, because I instantly started making fun of her, of course. she put up with it. But but she didn't end up finishing, so I don't know.
DNF by chairlift.
That's really early in the race to have like something dinged on you, like that's just, is this how my day is going to go? Like, is this what I have to look forward to? Oh, exactly. Poor thing.
Yeah. I think it was probably more the emotional sting than the physical, but yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Well, those things are usually, surrounded by these huge puffy pads for the skiers, but they're on the other side as you're hiking up. Skiers aren't going up that way. You don't have to worry about them skiing into it going uphill. So yeah, no pad either. Yeah. Oh, that had to hurt. That had to suck. You said there's about 300 something runners.
Yeah.
I'm just reading here as I'm on the website. For 300 something runners, this is impressive. They have over 1,500 volunteers.
Yeah, that's 3 to 1.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know how they get so many people to come and volunteer, and like for some really long times. Like the people that stand in the water at Rucky Chucky to help you across, they do 90-minute shifts. I mean, they're in wetsuits, but like they are standing there helping. I mean, crazy ultra runners. We were crazy to begin with. At mile 77, we're not any saner. And they're helping them get across the river all night long.
That's a lot. That is. So what kind of, is that like a current? Like, is it a strong river crossing that you guys have to deal with?
Yeah. So there's a dam right up the river. And so it's kind of up to like the Corps of Engineer, whoever operates it, what the flow is going to be that day. I mean, they know the race is going on. The race director requests that they drop it, but sometimes they just can't or whatever.
Yeah.
This year was exceptionally low. I think this is one of the lowest water levels the river crossing's ever been. If it's really high, they do rafts. So like then everybody has to wait on the bank and then they raft them all across and then they come back. Yeah, but it was so low, we had the option of wearing the PFD. But I mean, it's still like the water level still came up to like chest height on me. So I mean, it was like you were in the water.
Wow, yeah.
And they're like, oh, make sure all your electronics and like your waist lamp and your headlamp and stuff are out of the water. And I'm like, well, I only have 2 hands. And they're like, make sure you have 2 hands to hold onto the rope.
What do you want me to do? Strap it to my head? Like,
so I just like hung as much stuff as I could around my neck, and I was like, oh, I don't know, we'll figure this out on the other side. Yeah, so this is coming down from the first side you get to.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can see this aid station too from like 3 miles away. I'm glad you found that picture. Yeah, so you can see the aid station from like 3 miles away, and they have a boat. Like whenever you go rafting and there's like the guide that carries your lunch and your coolers and all that, like one of those kind of big boats.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting upstream to just make sure nobody drowns. And then they probably have, I don't know, like 7 or 9 people in the water to like just keep you moving across, basically. And so they're holding the rope taut too. My mom said she was watching the video and some guy did get swept downstream. Like they had to go get him.
Oh no.
It seemed like your feet would have to be pretty mangled for that to like, because the rocks are slick, but they're not that bad.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, that's the only thing to be careful of is like, like I said, the water was up to my chest maybe. But then like some of the rocks also come up to near the level of the surface. So like you'll just be shimmying along and then, the guides would warn you like, oh, there's an ankle buster there or shin buster or something. So then you have to kind of step around the rock. But it's so well lit down there. I mean, it's lit up broader than daylight, as you can see. So, this rope though is tricky because it's not as tight. Like it was a different thickness than the other rope. And so I was expecting it to give the same amount. And so I was like, But it felt so nice to just be in the water. It was so nice and cool. It really never cooled down at all, even at night during that race.
So you had some warm weather. Was it like, did you have any threat of rain at all, or was it just hot all weekend?
Just hot all week. And it wasn't even the hottest that they've ever had. Like it was a pretty typical year. The worst was once you got like into Auburn or even after the race in Auburn, it was like 109 degrees.
Oh, wow.
I am not built for that. And you can tell me it's a dry heat all you want to. I don't give a damn.
It's still hot.
Yeah, I felt like I was a rotisserie chicken. Like, it was miserable. And like afterwards they had shade tents, set up, but then all the runners just pack in together and it was just like a big pile of rats in the shade. Like, that's not any cooler.
Oh, the body heat is worse. Then it's sweaty and it stinks too, and so you're not getting anything good.
I've never been that great with heat, but then whenever I started doing those winter ultras, I got so much less of a tolerance for it. I just I can't function. Everything, like I don't want anything to touch me. I get so cranky with people. And so I think I got a little bit like heat exhaustion or heat stroke or something the first day, like during Saturday. And I tried to put on sunscreen, but my shoulders were all rubbed raw and stuff. And so then that night it really hit me and I was just like dehydrated. Like by the time I got to Rocky Chucky, I was dehydrated and nothing would sit in my stomach. The goos I've been using for like 3 years that never fail me were just curdling in my stomach.
Oh no.
So it was just one of those kind of nights, but that's usually what the heat does to me. So
what did you have to do to pivot to get your electrolytes back up?
I waited 3 days.
Oh shit, girl. Not the answer I was looking for, but holy shit. No. That's tough. Like if you can't you finished the race, which was good, but like what your body must have been so rebellious of that. Like if you were just sweating and couldn't get it back in.
Yeah, no, it was unhappy with me. I've started using exogenous ketones this training block too. And I think that really helped because at least I was getting like some sort of fuel in.
Yes.
But my body just, once it was done, it was done. I ate a lot of strawberries. The strawberries in California are so good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you run Big Sur?
I did, yes.
Yeah, that was the one thing.
Honestly.
Like they give you these giant strawberries near the end.
Like mile 21 or 22, you're like, give me all you can give me.
Yeah.
These are fantastic. So they
Yeah.
had them there. That's great.
Yeah, they had lots of them there. And so, yeah, I was just like, I looked down one time and one hand, all the fingers were blue and one hand, all the fingers were red. And I was like, what is going on? Then I realized this was my blackberry hand and this was my strawberry hand.
I don't know what it is, but for some reason, fresh fruit during an ultra is so good. I love watermelon during these kind of races. Even I know you can like put extra salt on it, but I will house an entire watermelon if you give it to me. Like it just hits so good during these races, especially if it's hot out.
Yeah. I'm a potato girl. I definitely ate all their potatoes that they had out. I would rank the aid stations. The Robinson Flats, they had the best bacon on the course. He was making bacon, which was delicious. Some of the bacon was a little subpar, you know.
They can't all be winners, but that's awesome that that's something that they offered to you.
Yeah,
I can imagine how good that would be.
Two go-tos. Once it gets towards the end of the race, like mile 80, it's a free-for-all. Like anything that I want to put in my stomach, I'll put in, but there wasn't anything that I wanted to put in at that point. So
right.
Yeah.
So for this race, just thinking about mine, and I had some bathroom issues just where I had to constantly have to pee. And I can't imagine it's probably not a good thing, but during your race, I can't imagine they had porta potties everywhere. So were you just like searching for bushes here and there? Like, was it your typical trail race where anything goes?
I don't even know. I never looked for a porta potty.
Well, that's good if you didn't need one. So
That's not true. At Michigan Bluffs aid station, I did use that porta potty. Yeah, because I was worried about my hips. And I commented that their porta potty, they did not have good toilet paper. I will say that.
Oh no.
But other than that, yeah, no, the porta potty situation, I guess they had them. I don't know. I'm a squatter for sure. I enjoy that like mid race break. Like later in the race, I try to do it near a tree, so in case I need help getting back up. This is a great time to have the poles with you.
Yes, yep.
Not allowed to use poles at Western State, so that was a no-go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Even up the mountains and stuff? I'm shocked.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use any kind of assistive thing. The blind guy was allowed to use poles. There was a blind runner that finished the course. He was allowed to use poles.
Oh my gosh, I think I saw his finish. Didn't he finish like just over the cutoff or something? Oh, that broke my heart.
Broke everyone's heart. And everybody's like, give him a buckle. And I was like, I mean, you can ask him, but I guarantee you he does not want that buckle. Staring at a buckle you didn't earn. I mean,
totally.
He's so much, right? Like, I think he was the second blind runner to even attempt the course and the first to like complete it. Like, yeah, take that, come back again, do it better.
Exactly. No, I'm on the same page, but it was just hard. You're like 30 seconds. Oh my God. Like, I feel that. But wow. Okay. So I will need a lot of work if I ever need to, if I ever do Western States, because my last 200s have used the poles and I felt like I've needed them just because I can't stand up straight. So that's good. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot of people use them for most of their ultras. So yeah, just train one year.
I mean, they are kind of a crutch if you're literally leaning on them, but if you need to do that, I guess it's kind of like, I don't want to say raw dog, but it is.
It's a double-edged sword, at least for me, because like a lot of times I won't eat then or I won't drink, because I have these things in my hands. So they're another complication, right? That you have to figure out, like, what am I going to do with them whenever I do need to eat?
That's true.
I'm still going to be able to eat, right? Like I like to eat usually on the climbs or just before the climbs or something. So yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
All right, Mikala, before we get to the other details of the race and the finish, I want you to tell me, as I'm looking at your Strava, what was your why? You wrote, remember your why.
Yeah, I wrote that as a joke because I never have a why. This is like whenever people are like, oh yeah, what's your life's purpose? What's your goal in life? Like, I'm just here to live life. It doesn't have to be complicated. And I mean, no disrespect to people that have whys, right? Like for their mom, for their, aunt, for their cancer treatment, for their children, for their, whatever their why is. I totally respect that. that is not why I go out in the woods and run a whole bunch of miles with weirdos. I do it because I love running a bunch of miles in the woods with weirdos.
That's a perfectly acceptable why.
Yeah. I there have been a lot of people that I've run with recently that I feel like treat ultras especially, but any kind of running is like a punishment for themselves, like they're out there not because they enjoy the running or maybe they enjoy the people or the community or something, but they just get through the running because, it's a punishment or, they can have a reward after that or something. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's their personal choice. But for me, it's never that. Like, that is always my reward at the end of the day. Like, I'm not a morning runner. I'm a night runner. Because, like, if I can make it through the whole day, then I know that I can go on my run in the evening and everything will be okay.
There you
If I have
go.
a really stressful week at work and I get to go climb mountains for a weekend, like, all the better. When I was describing my travel schedule for like May and June to somebody, they were like, "Oh my God, that just sounds like so much. That's so chaotic and stuff." And I was like, I get to do this. Like, I mean, yeah, of course it's chaotic and of course it's stressful, but like, I'm so lucky to have these opportunities and to be able to just pick up and go run 100 miles in the woods or 20 miles or whatever it is. Like, yeah, no, that to me is my why.
I think it's really special too that you enjoy doing those long distances because a lot of people don't. It's very difficult, and I mean, you're not choosing like easy stuff either. I know you have difficult stuff that you like to do, and I just think it is a special thing that you genuinely enjoy doing that stuff. Whether it's just being in the mountains or just going for a run, it's awesome.
Why do you collect all the feathers then?
I always collect feathers. I don't know why.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even whenever I'm like out on the river paddling or something, if I happen to see a feather, it's got to be in my hair. Someday I'm going to end up with bird lice and I'm going to regret this.
It'll make for a good story, though.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to be like the take nothing, leave nothing kind of thing. So I try not to take all of them. But yeah, I collected a couple blue jay
So
feathers.
you take those and stick them in your hair?
Yeah, into my little poop knot in the back of my head.
What do you call it? A poop knot?
Erika knows what a poop knot is.
Just like a bun, like.
What you call it? A poop knot?
Do you you must roll like twist your hair and it looks like a little.
I mean, you put it up, but like in the back, like it doesn't look pretty. Like you don't do anything with it. It's just like what women do with their hair when they're ready to get shit done.
All right. In this photo, did you paint your toenails dark?
No, they have been. I always choosing a toenail color for a race is a thing. Like that is part of the pre-race ritual. This color is sturdy sapphire because I wanted it to be blue because blue is my favorite color. But all the colors that I was finding were like, I don't know, they were just like baby blue or something, and it had to be like a strong blue color. So that is sturdy sapphire.
So it's not to disguise the disgusting toenails or the bloody feet and all that. This was okay.
It's a pre-race ritual, Eric. Did you not just hear me? Of course there's nothing disgusting about my toenails underneath.
Not you ultra runners.
My last big toenail will probably have to be, is going to disappear at some point because it's almost never actually attached to my toe. And then the one right next to it, this race, got a little messed up and a little blistery. But other than that, like, there's nothing wrong with my feet. Like, I had one little teeny tiny blister. Like, I couldn't even pop it. It was so tiny. People were at the finish line, like, with these bandaged Franken feet. I was like, what happened to you? What did you do?
I sent Erika a video today of a guy after running like an ultra taking his sock off. I'm like, Erika, we need to do this for the pod. And Erika was like,
that real fast.
No way. I'm like, what if we do it, but then the sock comes off, we blur the feet out. It's like too disgusting for even the pod.
I've seen some face pictures that I want blurred out. I do not want that image seared in my brain anymore.
Well, I'm assuming these ones are safe because you posted them. So this one here.
My feet never look like that.
What was that?
My feet never look like that. Even at the worst race ever, my feet have never looked that disgusting. So this is at race start. So you can see that mountain in the background. That's where
that's the one you had to climb there.
It's just looming in the background.
Oh, you got the West Virginia. That's like your West Virginia T-shirt on.
Yeah, every single West Virginia runner finished.
Yay! Yeah.
Shout out WV.
I have this belt on. It doesn't show up as well in that picture, but there's like this belt to hold my SI joint together and all of these.
So this looks like a video. Well, it's a quick 3-second video, but here you are.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Vlogging to your followers, of course, and the
All I
sun's.
said was holy fucking shitballs.
I mean, I feel that. That is so incredibly gorgeous. What mile was this at?
2.
Mile 2, 21:45. You read off like on Kuzmark.
This is 5:30ish, right? Because sunrise is there. So
gorgeous.
It's very early on. This is after Michigan Bluffs because I changed shirt. That shirt did not last very long. It was starting to be evening, and I was like, "Oh, good, it's gonna cool down now. I can put on like a t-shirt." And it did not cool down at all. It was miserable. I will say, my friend Sarah, who's done this race before, and her husband was doing it again this year. She told me to take an extra bottle, like just like a ginger ale bottle, a Propel Gatorade bottle, like a crappy bottle, and use it just to like fill up at creek crossings or like at the aid stations to dump water on myself.
Okay.
And that thing was a game changer because I have like the ice buff or like the bandana and stuff. But the problem I have with those is then they like drip down my body into my socks, right? Like they just you end up with water everywhere you don't want it. But with the bottle, you could really target it onto just like your face and shoulders. But right before this picture, I dropped it off. Like I threw it away because I was like, oh, it's going to be evening time. I don't need that anymore.
You can see the feather in this photo. I'm just noticing it. You have the feather in your poop knot. Right behind your ear.
That was perfect usage.
And now, do you have a headphone? Are those headphones, or is what is?
Probably do have headphones, yeah. For some races, they have a solo division, which is no pacers, no crew, and no headphones. Western States doesn't do that, so I was allowed to use headphones.
What were you listening to besides the On the Runs podcast and the On the Runs playlist?
It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos.
Oh yeah, on repeat.
Song that I suggest for people, yeah.
I don't know how often you listen, but sometimes and I might edit it out on other times, but sometimes when they say, what song do you want? I go, and Raining Tacos has already been taken. I actually think I put it in the show notes more than anything else. It's just like, pick a song, FYI, Raining Tacos has been taken. Just because it's fun.
It is really fun to get that song stuck in your head or other people's song that stuck in other people's heads. That climb, one of the big climbs is called Devil's Thumb. And like, I don't mind it because it has switchbacks, first of all, which is fine. It's single track, so you're like in the woods. Like, it's really pretty. That picture before this was on a road. Like, who wants to do a climb on a dirt road in the heat? Like, that wasn't fun. But yeah, so Devil's Thumb, I would always sing to people, this is the climb that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend.
Fitting. It's fitting, for sure.
Yeah.
You definitely represented West Virginia. You even got on the necklace there. Oh, wait. Is that South Africa?
That's South Africa.
Yeah. I had to look at it better.
I don't think geography is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a quick look.
Yeah.
All right. Here we talked about this was the river crossing. Hopefully this will be on YouTube, everyone. If not, I'll just put a quick section on. We'll see how everyone's videos sync. So there's a live stream. I'm guessing someone snagged a screenshot of you on the live stream here.
Yeah, my friend Alicia, her husband Donald was crewing for a West Virginia guy, and she's like our Instagram West Virginia ambassador. She is just like, if there's something cool on Instagram, she will repost it. Nice. But she and her friends had a big watch party for all of like the runners from our area, and so she snagged a bunch of these and sent them to me the day after.
So this was at 1:28 in the morning. It's actually 4:28 in the morning where she is in West Virginia.
Yes.
She pulled an all-nighter?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, there were a lot of people that I know that were having watch parties, like, all night long. Because, I mean, like, I was at the river crossing, but other runners were finishing, right? Or, getting closer to the finish. So it's fun if you have, like, at least 6 people, I think, scattered across the time.
Yeah.
This is called No Hands Bridge. This is a famous bridge on the course. Everybody knows it. If you didn't know it before you ran Western States, you know it after. I don't know. My dad said there were like 30 countries represented at Western States this year. So yeah, they put up all the flags for the different countries.
That's cool. Since we're at the photo of the finish line, why don't you give us the rest of the race? Fill us in with all the details, how it went. Was there any moments of like disaster or like, I won't get it? or the woman who gave you the belt, like, you're going to do it, you're going to get the buckle. Give us the rest of the details and bring us to the finish line here.
I mean, I feel really bad because the rest of the race was just like, I mean, I don't want to say boring, but it was just like such a nice ultra running experience. Like, I love running at night. So, like, I was excited for the night. So after I made it to Forest Hill, that's where day one of the training camp ended. And I'm sorry I keep referencing the training camp, but for me, that's really how I like broke up the race, like the pre-race training camp part that I had to finish. And then day one, day two, and day three. But yeah, so once I made it to Forest Hill, there's a huge downhill out of Forest Hill. It's like almost a 3-mile drop, and I love downhills. And I knew I'd have the trail to myself. I could just put on my headlamps, my waist lamps, put on a little reggaeton, and just do my thing. And so that's pretty much what I did. And it was just delightful. I didn't see a ton of wild animals. I saw a bunch of deer. I saw a really pretty frog, some lizards. Yeah, but I know some other people saw some cooler animals or hints of them, or they thought they did.
It's hallucinations, right?
Yeah.
Fox,
I
that
was
turns
really
out to be a
tired.
rock.
Yeah, definitely. I was really tired all day, so I was surprised that I didn't have more hallucinations, but I really didn't have anything exciting. Yeah, I mean, my stomach got a little messed up because I was a little dehydrated. You know, I just sort of forced myself to drink some water, forced myself to eat some more salt, kind of just got through it. The sun came up, which I was bummed about. You know, my A goal was 24 hours. With the injury, I had a feeling that wasn't going to happen. So I had like set a B goal of 27 hours. And even that didn't happen. So then it's just sort of like, oh, well, you'll get to buckle. It'll be fine. But yeah, I just kind of enjoyed the rest of the day. There's still a lot of climbing, right? It's a net downhill race, but there's a lot of climbing. And even at the very end, I made so much fun of this. One of the last aid stations, he's like, all right, we're going to go down this downhill. And then you're going to have this really gentle grade up to Roby Point. And I guess he thought I was going to be too delirious to pay attention to him or something. But like that little gentle grade up to Roby Point is this like 2-mile climb on pavement up to like, it's just a miserable climb. And I called him out on it. I was like, that is bullshit, dude. I was here for the training camp. There's no gradual anything here on
Would this
out.
be like at mile 47 and 48?
No, this is at mile like 90, 95.
Oh, okay. I'm going to it. I'm all in your Strava. I'm digging into your Strava. So mile 90 was a descend of 163 feet. So
Yeah, but then there's a big climb up to Roby Point.
I found it. Man, you crushed it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a bad part. The problem with it is like that's a social trail, like a public area that people come like are wandering with their coolers and they're like smoking cigarettes, like they're just doing normal stuff that humans do on a Sunday. And so whenever they see you, you can't be like walking or dragging a bum leg behind you. Like you have to look like you enjoy running. That's what I mean. Like you're happy to be there.
Mile 100 for you. You had almost 600 feet of climbing. In fact,
the last mile?
Almost 800 feet in the last 2 miles.
Oh, yeah. It climbed up to the very end, basically.
Yeah, mile, I think it was 48, was 894 feet of climbing.
That Devil's Thumb. That might be Devil's Thumb.
Yeah, you crushed it, though. You crushed it.
But honestly, for a West Coast race, I think the climbing feels a lot like East Coast climbing. Like, you're always going up or down. There really aren't that many just, like, ridiculously long grinding climbs that never end. And that's what I tend to think of as, like, a Western race, right?
Those first 4 miles. Mile 1, 623 feet. Mile 2, 770. Mile 3, 576. And mile 4, you got it right, 207 feet of climbing.
You're hopped up on adrenaline. You're talking to everybody around you. Like, you can't count that as a climb.
This was impressive, Mikala. Absolutely impressive. Some more Strava stats. Elapsed time, 27 hours, 58 minutes, and 18 seconds. Moving time, 26, 15, 50. An average pace. Erika, do you want to guess her average pace per mile? We usually don't talk about paces. We're not about fast runners, but this is impressive. I'm
Go ahead and tell me.
Psyched and pumped. Now take a guess. I'll even give you just the minute range.
16.
Yes. 16:38
The only reason
per
I know
mile.
it is because her time is very close to what I finished in, and I know mine.
Oh, you cheated. You
So,
cheated.
you set me up for
Total
it. But
elevation,
amazing.
17,493 feet. You burned over 10,000 calories.
You did. Jeez. So
Impressive.
after burning all those calories, what did you have for a post-race meal?
Yeah, so I don't know how you are, but especially after hot races, like I want to eat all the things, right? Like if I was at a restaurant, I would order a burger and a milkshake and breakfast burrito. Like I would order everything.
Yep.
Yeah, like they had breakfast foods there at the finish line whenever I finished, and like I just don't do a lot of breakfast foods in general. Like pancakes weren't doing it for me. And I was about ready to pass out because I was so dehydrated and low salt. So I can't and I already am pretty prone to passing out. So I tried not to stand up. I was just sort of like crawling or hovering.
Yep.
But I was just dumping like salt packets mixed with a little bit of scrambled eggs in my mouth.
Oh my God.
And then some Coke, right? Some ginger ale Coke, all that kind of stuff always tastes really good. One of my guilty pleasures that I do put in my drop bags is tonic water. And I know that sounds gross without gin to a lot of people, but it's just the
Not
right
really. It's
sugar,
sugary and it's got the
carbonation.
fizzy. Yeah. I
And
can
when
see
your
that.
mouth is like, that ultra mouth where it's just like coated in, I don't know, carbohydrates or something, it will cut through that. And it's not like a flavor that I actually want. The next day I was super excited to have waffles at the, hotel waffles are just like, I don't know what they're made out of, crack cocaine or something.
I
I
can
made
see that.
myself one and, I ate maybe, I didn't even eat a whole quarter of it. I ate it like a half of a quarter. So an eighth of the waffle. And then, yeah, I could only eat in like 100-calorie bursts for a long time.
Yeah. 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 It takes so long for your body to just get back to normal. Like, I think so. What I had after mine, it took me a good 6 hours before I could have a real meal, but I had a slice of pizza and I was like, pizza, yes. And then I was like, I'm done. Like one slice of pizza. Usually I could scarf like a half of a pizza and it takes so long to just feel good again, just right,
Yeah, no, that was my same experience. And it usually is. Like I said, the colder races, it'll be easier to come back from. But the hot races, it's like my stomach is just done.
Absolutely. So I know we touched upon your goals for this race and you said your A goal didn't quite work out, your B goal didn't quite work out, but you finished, which was great. Was there any point in the race that you were worried about making cutoffs?
No.
I don't know how strict those were at all.
The cutoffs are really wonky, actually. Yeah, because I wasn't actually that far off from the cutoffs at some of the aid stations. But the aid stations, I think the cutoffs are pretty lax in the first part, and then they get really tight towards the end. Like there's something weird about them. But I even told this to one of the racers because I came through. It must have been Devil's Summer, Michigan Bluffs, and I was only like an hour off from the 30-hour cutoff. But according to my pace chart that I had made for myself, I was only like an hour off from my 24 goal time. So like that, my pace chart was adjusted to know oh, I don't climb very well. I descend very well. I'm fine in the dark. I don't do well in the heat, right? Like it took a lot more of that into consideration.
Okay.
So it was kind of weird that I generally don't pay attention to cutoffs, right? Like if I'm at the point where I'm paying attention to cutoffs, I'm probably going to DNF because I can't handle that stress. I don't want to be that close to the cutoff. But
right. Yeah, I totally get that.
Right. But there were some people around me, I think, that were paying attention to it. And it's pretty clearly posted at all the aid stations when you come in and when you leave. The other thing about me versus other ultra runners is I don't spend a lot of time at the aid stations. Obviously if I have a drop bag and I'm changing clothes or shoes, that's 15, 20 minutes. But if I don't have anything to do, everything that I need to do at an aid station, almost all of that I can do while I'm walking, right? So I'm grabbing the strawberries. I'll get my handhelds filled up. But then, I get them adjusted, put them in my pack all while I'm walking. I don't care if I'm not running, but at least I'm moving forward and I'm not being distracted by stuff that's going on at an aid station.
Yeah.
So I think that's a easier way to get out of the aid station on time too.
That is good. I did notice so you said you do a lot of these races on your own. You don't have a crew. That is one thing that I found during my first 100 that really held me back because so my boyfriend would crew for me and he met me at one end. So this was only 33 miles in And I felt like I had to spend time with him because he was bored. He was all by himself. So I spent probably a good half an hour there when I could have been out 10 minutes earlier or 20 minutes earlier. And it's like almost a guilt thing where these people travel so far to be with you and help you. And you're like, hey, I don't need you. I'm going to keep going. And so it is like I don't know, it's a give and take kind of thing. But yeah, if you're
especially hard for women runners, right? Like I think a lot
Mhm.
of male, not to genderify it, but I think a lot of male runners can just like come into their aid station, do what they need, and walk out mid sentence. And like
True.
for me, it was the same thing because I've had crew before, and it was just too stressful. Like I told them I was going to be there between this time and this time, and I'm way too early or way too late. Like, oh my god,
Right.
I'd be mad. They're not
So
having a
many
good
factors.
time. Like I need to arrange entertainment, let alone a race like Western States where you have to fly them out there. Like I couldn't imagine the stress.
Well, recently Erika and I learned something new, a new term, and Mikala, I'm going to give it to you here. DFFA.
Yes.
Don't fiddle fuck around.
One of our new friends, Amy, she has that tattooed on her. She's got DFFA for don't fiddle fuck around. And
it as an acronym, but yeah, that was the fiddle fart around. Yeah, that was a big thing in North Carolina.
however you want to put it, I think it's amazing. It really does tell you, hey, you have a mission to do. Do not waste this time. It is precious and you will regret it later.
Have you ever volunteered at a 100-miler?
No, I have not yet.
You
I
should
would though.
That's where you will learn a lot of these tricks because I volunteer at C&O Canal 100 here in Harper's Ferry, and that is my whole job. And I'm known as people call me horrible names during the race because I will come and like literally dump them out of their chair, or I will set timers on them. I'll be like, you have 2 minutes to get out of this aid station, not because they're close to cutoff, just because they've been fiddle fucking around for 20 minutes.
Yep. No, that's actually really good that you do that. And if you were doing it to me, I would say thank you because
you wouldn't at the time. You would cuss me out, and that's fine. I've got broad shoulders.
Probably.
But at the end, whenever you have a buckle, that's fine.
Because it's such if you sit down, and I know they say beware the chair. If you sit down for too long, your legs are gonna seize up. You're gonna lose motivation real quick. And you need people, volunteers like yourself, who are gonna do that and risk being called a bitch or whatever. Like somebody's gonna get mad at you, but you are doing them a service. So thank you for what you do. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Boot him in the ass. Yeah, get out of here.
Well, cool. I don't know where we are because I missed the last 10 minutes.
I asked a couple extra questions, but I mean, Mikala, is there anything else that you'd like to close out your epic Western States race?
No.
Well, let me ask you this question then. I asked you what the vibes were like at the starting line. What were the finish line vibes?
Death and destruction. Honestly, I mean, I was in no physical or mental condition to take in at all the finish line, which was kind of a bummer. It was 109 degrees in like a track, right? You're on a track and field track, so there's no shade. Like it's not like there's trees. You're not like at a park or anything. Yeah, it was not fun. They did have like showers, but again, like I couldn't even stand up for very long. I definitely, whenever Erika runs Western States, I'm gonna go and be her crew. I'm gonna go to the pre-race area, and I'm gonna party for like 2 or 3 days straight. I'm gonna do there's this high camp challenge where you run up that escarpment thing the day before. Some Western States runners actually did that too. I'm gonna be at the finish line partying my ass off the whole day. Yeah, I'm gonna do the whole experience. But as a runner, no. I will say, when you cross the finish line, they give you a medal. Like they hang a medal around your neck. And like, luckily I was too feeble, but I really just wanted to punch that guy in the gut. I was like, I don't want your goddamn medal. I want my buckle.
Where's my buckle? Where is it?
And like in my head, I'm running because there's something in the pre-race briefing like, well, they don't give you your buckle right away because they have to make sure there's no complaints against you, that you didn't violate any of the rules, right? And I'm like, if I violated rules, I'm here in 28 hours. But the reason they do that is because they engrave your name on the back of the buckle. They engrave your name. So every finisher gets their name spelled correctly, engraved on the back of the buckle, so you don't get it right away.
That's cool.
So you can't you can't go home. You can't go to your hotel. You have to be there for the 1 p.m. like award ceremony, and then they present you with your buckle. And so like my hotel was pretty close, so I probably could have, but I was afraid once I'd see a bed and air conditioning, and like I just didn't want to be separated from my buckle anymore. Like
that brings us to when you were on here last and everyone just heard on the classic, you weren't really into medals. And you may have said there, you didn't really care about buckles either. So what's your take on this buckle?
I'm not going to say anything out loud. Just being
She's just like, oh.
yeah, I mean, I have it here. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, my one friend, I posted a picture of myself wearing it, and he's like, well, it would be better if it was silver. And I was like, fuck you, buddy.
Because silver is under
24.
Yeah, that's right. So you're under 30, so you got the bronze.
100 miles in one day, right? That's what Gordy did, was sub 24 hours. Yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
We're just going to say, of all the buckles, this is the buckle you will hold on to.
And throw this one away. How about if I say that about it? Because I have thrown buckles away before. I throw medals away. I donate the ones that I can, but like, what are you going to do with a buckle?
Yeah, we talked about the whole donating on the classic. Like,
tell me
all
you
the
kept
races.
the 6-star. You had to have kept the 6-star.
Yes, and all medals from all my 6 stars too, because they're pretty. Although I think the Boston one started rusting or something. Like,
no way.
They're not made out of good material. Yeah, my thing is, if I need a t-shirt or if I need a medal to remember that I did the thing or to remember the experience, it must not have been that good of an experience. Like, I will never forget about Western States. Like, even if I never run it again, even if I never run another mile in my life, like, it really was. It lived up to the hype. Not a lot of things live up to the hype in my book, but Western States did.
That is really good to know.
Well
I'm
said.
glad you had such a great experience with it.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes,
and I'm glad you made it in one piece too, like with your hips and everything. So, how you feeling post race?
Today was actually the first day I was able to walk, like, not entirely in pain. Like, even yesterday I was like down at the DC area walking around, and like I had to sit down every 30 minutes or stand up every 30 minutes because I just can't do anything with it. But
today is July 7th, by the way, everybody. So it's been a solid two weeks since the race. One week.
Yeah.
A solid week.
Like, no.
It's 2 weeks from when everyone's listening.
He lived an extra week in between there.
Well, you're amazing. Absolute badass. Ooh, I'll tell you, when we heard your name get pulled from the lottery, like, we went nuts. We were like, this is amazing. And now we know how we're going to bring you back and we're going to talk to you again, because like the episode when we had you on a long time ago, it was like, oh, you really wanted to get into Western States.
Yeah, but
you had all the lottery tickets.
Knew anything about what it was like to run 100 miles. So you had to go get a co-host trained up on how to talk intelligently about 100 miles.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
I don't know why Eric didn't volunteer for the assignment, but
Still waiting.
3 little ones. I think I've done more crew support for her than anybody else, but
I'll give you that.
I'm not going to pump my own tires here. Well, that was amazing, and we are also here to talk about Erika, her race.
My turn!
I think it is your turn. Mikala, thank you, and I hope, do you want to stick around and be my co-host now as we talk to Erika about her 100-miler?
Yep.
Her second one, and she went radio silent forever and all that. But Erika, all right, I'm going to give you a challenge. Under 30 minutes. Can we do it?
I'll try my best. Just keep it to the race then.
All right. Well, you ran in the Yeti. What are we going to call it? The Washington Yeti? Give us the details. Tell us about this race.
Oh, it was so awesome. This race took place in Hayek, Washington. Well, that was where the start point is, and it took place on the Palouse to Cascades, like rail to trail system. And it was probably the most gorgeous race I have run to date. But it's hard to say that with Big Sur on the list, and there's been so many different races, but ultra-wise, this one was absolutely incredible. We had some crazy views, mountains, and you were running over trestles. We ran through the Snoqualmie Tunnel, which was a 2.3 mile long total darkness tunnel, which was really cool. And like on the other side, you had like a little lake and rivers and waterfalls, and it was just totally gorgeous. And I understand why you guys like being in the mountains so much. It was definitely outside of my comfort zone in the mountain air, but it was my type of trail where it was very flat and not technical. So I had a great time.
So did you wear road shoes or trail shoes?
I did trail shoes for this particular race, but I did bring road shoes just in case.
Okay.
I had heard if it was a rainy day, which that will bring me to one thing. If it was raining, that some of the rocks out there could get kind of slick and it could be a little more technical than usual. There was rain in the forecast originally. So what we had to do for this, you originally had to go, you went from Hayek down to Easton and back, and that was probably 20 something miles. And then you went down, 25 miles. Math is not my thing right now. But then you went down through the Snoqualmie Tunnel down to, God, I can't even, I'm spacing, 21 miles down that way and back again. And then you did one more lap of the first one. But they thought it was going to be really cold and rainy. And they were worried about being in that like long stretch alone overnight. So they changed the course. So we did the Snoqualmie Tunnel, the 21 miles down and back. And then we did 3 little out and backs, and they chopped it a little bit shorter. So you did Hayek to a little bit farther than this aid station called Crystal Springs. You did that 3 times. So you got to see lots of people at night. You're never really alone. It was nice, but you're just like, oh, wow, I got to do this 3 times now, lap format. So I kind of liked how they did that. They changed it just to try to increase the finisher rate. But it turned out to be the most gorgeous day. Started out in like the 40s and then only made it to like 70 degrees. And it wasn't super sunny. It was just absolutely perfect conditions, anything I could have asked for. And even overnight, like it wasn't terrible. I did get really, really cold though. And I just had like a rain jacket with me, and that just perked me right back up. I was ready to go, put on a pair of gloves, and yeah, it helped me through the night hours.
What were some of like the comparisons? This is your second 100-miler, but it's a Yeti. Was everything the same Yeti wise, or what was the differences being? Was it Virginia and now Washington?
So Yeti wise, everything was great. You got just super friendly people. The volunteers were wonderful. They just wanted to make sure that you were taken care of. The one thing that Yetis like to do, I don't know if it's just how it works out or if it's based on like the trail, but all of the aid stations are about 8 miles away from each other. And that it's very slow to tick away when you are moving slowly. So you're just like, oh my God, I still have this much. Like it's going to take me 2 more hours to get there. I'm walking so slowly. But you have your checkpoint. You know where you're going. You know you have wonderful people waiting there to take care of you. And you just, it's a piece of the puzzle that you just have to fit in. So, but yeah, I liked this one, I think, better than Virginia, but I feel like I might get some shit for that. I don't know. It was really nice. It was just easier-ish to do because you didn't have like the harsh grades to go up. And by harsh grades, I think we only had like 5% in Virginia. So it was just nothing special, but I liked it. It was good.
Well, I remember like leading up, we're chatting, and you're out in Washington on like in vacation mode, drinking,
Oh yeah,
and touring, like, and that was different than what Mikala was doing. She was flying in super late, and just like super focused on all her bags and everything, getting ready for the race. Like, so where's your mindset? Like, were you fiddle fucking around with Brandon? And like, oh, okay, tomorrow you just have to show up for the race, or were you getting prepared at all for this 100-miler? Like, I was a little worried. I was like, I don't know if she's in it, if her head game is in it right now.
Mental preparation is an important part, and being relaxed is very important for that. That's all I'm going to say.
I took the relaxing thing to a new level, I think. So we spent time in Seattle, and then we went to Portland, Oregon for a few days, and then we drove back up. And I think between those, we got in Saturday night, and we had to be in Hayek on Thursday, and we had visited maybe like 8 to 10 breweries. Like, so I had my fair share of beers. I was like not sleeping great. I definitely could have prepared better that way, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. We saw some amazing things. I'll have to share some pictures. I know I sent Eric some last minute, so he couldn't really show everybody
Need it
on
the
here,
night
but
before, Erica. Let's figure this
you
out.
didn't
Let's get it
ask me for
together.
them. You didn't even ask me
I
today,
did
and I
like a week
sent them.
ago.
Well, I posted some on Facebook. So, but anyways, I had myself a blast. It was my birthday week, so I was living it up. I spent most of my birthday in the car on the way from Portland to Hayek, and that was packet pickup day. So, I think I was just trying to keep myself calm because I was freaking out. This was only my second 100. I had learned things during the first one. I wanted to do well. I mean, I had everything, like I had a plan, and I just needed the day to come. So I was just passing the time however I could.
What was
But
the
this,
biggest thing you learned, and what was the biggest thing that like you tried to improve on, but you still didn't get right?
so the one thing I learned, I actually learned it from the Western States website, was how to tape up my feet. So my feet were the biggest hindrance during my last 100, where I just got sand in there. I had blisters. There was chafing. I had the most uncomfortable feet. So this time I learned how to just prevent the blisters. And I did such a good job on that, patting myself on the shoulders. And I had learned from some people on Instagram. And like that's one of the Code Brown commandments we have, was lube up your toes. Finally did that, and game changer. I should have been listening to you guys all along. You know what you're doing. So I finally did that. But the one other thing that could still use improvement is, of course, my fueling habits, because I'll go in there and I'll have like I like Scratch Labs, Super Fuel. So that's just calorie drinks, easy to get those calories in, electrolytes. But at a certain point, you just hit like your sugar threshold and you can't eat any more sugar. So even like the gummy bears that sounded so great at the time, and like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I like couldn't even eat that. So I had to kind of pivot and just say like, hey, what's gonna work for me? A pickle juice reset, like just a shot of pickle juice, like helped so much. And then I did a quick little video on this. One of the aid station volunteers, her name was Michelle, and she was the sister of one of the guys, Jeremy, who I met out there, who was an awesome Yeti, super nice. His whole crew was great. She was making mashed potato quesadillas, and I ate like 3 of those at one point because I was like, these just taste so amazing right now. And that got
Really,
me
mashed
through.
potatoes. Never thought you would like those.
See, you put a mashed potato in a thing that I already like, and I'm going to eat the shit out of it. So that got me through like the first 62 miles. And I was like, I feel fantastic. And at that point, it was starting to get dark, and I would just kind of wanted to go. So like I was trying to finish that first lap, and I think I just kind of depleted myself a little too much, and I didn't put enough calories back in. And then that night lap that I had to do was just kind of miserable, because your stomach just turns on you. So I really couldn't eat. I was trying to take in the calories. Like I was like, all right, just give me some soda. I need something, caffeine, anything. And the night lap that got me to mile like 82, not so great. It was a very, very slow go. But then I had cheese quesadillas at like the aid station back at Hayek, and I was like, all right, I think I can do this last lap. I think I'll be okay. And yeah, just little things you got to just try. And I think I tried some potato chips, but quesadillas seem to do the trick. But yeah, that's definitely a learning curve for me, is just figuring out what's going to work. And food will always be, I think, the struggle for me, just trying to find out what I can eat in that moment and what's going to work.
There was no tracking for this race, unlike your last Yeti. Why was there no tracking? And then you went radio silent on us for a long time. You gave us a quick 50-mile update. You're like, I'm feeling pretty damn good, guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
kind of crushing it. And then you went silent.
So yeah, this was a different race. I noticed that between registering for the Washington Yeti and the Virginia Yeti, the Washington one was like $100 cheaper, and I kind of assume that's because they didn't have to shell out for tracking, like the little chips that you carry around. So we did have to manually check in at each aid station. They would just note your time in and out and whatever. and off you went. So they just compiled it at the end, I guess. So I couldn't really have you guys track me at home unless I was doing the social media stuff. And during the first part of the race, that's when you got a majority of my little videos and stuff, because I was taking my phone out anyways, like trying to capture the beautiful scenery. And I was like, hey guys, 30 miles in, feeling great. 42 miles in, woo, let's go. And then 50 miles, it was still daylight.
You said you were
And-
crushing it.
Yeah, well, that's because I think I hit like a 50-mile PR. I did it in like 11:16 or something. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm doing great. But then it got dark. At the end of that lap, I was like, all right, kind of no point in taking my phone out if nobody can see me. And I don't want to talk to myself in the dark. So actually, I had my headphones in. I put on some punk rock and I was like singing to like old Fall Out Boy songs and stuff. And that helped me through my night lap. But at that point, I was like, I'm just not going to bother touching the phone, because also I had poles and both hands were occupied. And there was a point where I tried to, like, I have the Lakey poles and I unclipped one, but I like whacked myself in the face with it because I was trying to like move it and put it under my arm. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to fuck with these anymore. Just going to leave them alone. So yeah, the updates kind of stopped. I did hear all the dings, like, where's Erika? Because I had great service out there, which was kind of weird. But I was like, I'll get to you guys when I get to you.
The group chat had the memes like Bueller, you
Like, I don't
alive?
care. Yep.
Saka, you dead?
I should have told you to call me, because it's easy to just press a button on like my earphone to answer a phone call
good
than
to
it
know
is.
for next time.
Yeah, you'll know.
Group chat, Instagram Live. That's how we'll begin to do the social. Mikala, it's been a struggle to get her to do social media. She said at the beginning of 2024, I'll make one post a week. And I think she's made one all year on her
Hey,
own.
I'm doing races for you, dude.
She has some business to attend to when you were bothering the fuck out of her.
Thank you.
She didn't want to DFFA. No, she didn't want to. Whatever.
Now we're gonna edit that out, Mikala. That's not gonna make the final cut.
Social media during a race. I rarely do it pre or post race. Yeah, I mean, you've seen me on Instagram, right? And I'll be super active for like 3 days in a row, and then I just go radio silent for the next 4 months. I think if you give her like some specific targets, you need a SMART goal for her. They have to be thematic, right? So like twice a month, she has to post on this theme and this theme. And then, yeah, you just have to make her some SMART goals for this.
That's a better chance of me actually doing it. So we'll see.
I think we had them, but
everybody on Strava. The feed always has like themes, right? Like you have to post about your hydration or what kind of supplements you take or something. So you could follow that.
True.
We'll keep working on it. We're gonna have to write it in a contract. I think that's how we're gonna get
paid.
it.
That's how it's gonna happen. Oh, you're giving me stuff? You're paying me? Sure. Now I'll do it.
She's only in it for the money, guys. You heard it first.
But I'm doing this for free, you guys. So whatever.
We're planning to do this, actually.
Yeah.
But hey, all right. So the Nightfall, your first Yeti, there are points where you're like, the cutoff time, you're not going to make it, you thought, and then you messed up the time with your runner's map. Or
I was real worried about that. Yeah.
You were. Tell me about that.
So during the first Yeti, that's when I was having the foot problems. Like it was mile 48 and I made a shoe change, and so much dirt, like mile 48 to 66, just accumulated so much dirt, so much like chafing. The blisters were forming. I was miserable. So I had gotten to like Taylor's Valley aid station, which was maybe like mile 70 something. I just sat down and I was like, I need to do something about these shoes. And it just ate up so much of my time. And just being tired, it was middle of the night, the darkness, like couldn't comprehend the math. I thought I was going to miss the next cutoff. And then somebody came up behind me and was like, no, you have an extra half an hour. And my mind was like, yes, I can actually do this. But
yes, last year. But did that happen this year? Did that happen this time?
Nope.
No,
this year,
was there any like someone walking up to you, remember last year, and they're like, oh, when's your next one? You're like, never again. Did you ever have that feeling like I'm two and done?
No, this year was so much better. Like with all the stuff that I learned, I managed to run so much more of this one. Like the last one, I think I only ran 40 out of the 100 miles. I ran at least, I would say 70 of these miles. Like it was an interval, so like short little walk breaks, but I ran a majority of them. That
All
helped
right.
my mindset so much more. And I was like stoked. I was like ready to finish the last part of it. I just wanted to get going with it. And at that point, so we had mentioned the DFFA. I saw Amy out on the course. She was pacing somebody. So I got to like see her a bunch. I got a nice hug. I actually got to meet her
Nice.
boyfriend, Chris, who was a volunteer also. And they just were awesome out there. And I met up with another woman. We had met up, I think, mile like 30 something. We were just kind of leapfrogging a little bit. And she found me again around mile 70. And we finished up the thing together. We were just doing a lot of like mostly power hiking intervals. And it was awesome to have a friend to help bring it in, you know? And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, you guys.
Mikala, do you have anything for Erika here before we go through her photos? As she said me, we're going to do like rapid fire photos here.
Well, when is your next one? What's your next one going to be?
I have one on Friday. It's
Do that. Yes.
so I last minute signed up for it's
And
called
you
the
don't
Notch.
mean another ultra. You mean another 100-miler.
Yes, but this one, don't judge me just yet. I signed up.
We'll support this. I like it when there are people crazier than I am.
Yes.
Excellent.
So this one is the Notchview Ultra, and for the longest time I was waitlisted, and I wasn't sure I was going to get off of the wait list. So this is a looped course, and you have the option to do either 100.7 miles, just based on the number of loops, or you could do a 72 hour. So I have 72 hours to do my 100 miles. I have a stronger goal for myself to finish before Saturday night because I want to come home and sleep. But I mean, I have all the time I could really want to do that.
Be kind to yourself, Erika. If you're not feeling it, be kind to yourself. I want you to be able to do hundreds for a lot longer.
This
and
one
after is that's not a lot of time.
Exactly. And this one, it's local. I mean, it's only in Massachusetts. So if I have to DNF, I will do so with grace. I am not afraid to say no to that.
Yeah,
he will say that, but
have good swag. Hopefully they have very rough, itchy t-shirts that like you do not want anyway. So
but I've heard so many good things about this where I was like, I might as well give it a shot. But we have some friends, like I'm not going to be alone. Like I'm going alone, but I have a lot of friends who are going to be there. So it's going to be, I think, more of a party atmosphere than it is like a real running event for me because
not all that seriousness that you took with the last one with only 7 or 8 breweries. You can really let loose now.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it just to be around friends. We'll call it that. That's the main reason. But
okay. Good luck.
Right,
that was next. Thank you.
I did my master, my magic. I got the photos.
Yes.
Got a little distracted. In no particular order, we're going to go through all your photos here that you sent me. Let's start with this one.
So that is the opening of the Snoqualmie Tunnel, and it is endless. You cannot see. There's no lights inside whatsoever. It's just a dark void. And
really?
That was,
how long is it?
It's 2.3 miles long.
In a dark tunnel and you can't see in front of you.
Well, we had to bring our own like headlamps and stuff, but I was showing this to Brandon the day after and I was like, see, this happened like 0.4 miles into my race. So
it's just,
this started
straight,
it off.
The entire way straight?
Pretty much. I mean, I didn't notice too much of a curve, I guess. I mean, you can't see anything.
What's this used for? Like, it looks like a single walking tunnel.
It used to be for trains. It used to be. So
right.
Inside it's basically flat. It does have some divots because there is some water that can get in there. So there's like drips and some holes from just water.
Or scary or any of that?
It's creepy and it's so weird. It echoes, like it gets all your footsteps. You think you're hearing stuff, like, and then you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. But it just never gets closer.
Oh yeah.
It's such a trippy thing. It was kind of crazy.
All right. Is this the start line? I'm gonna guess.
So this is the Hayek point. That's the Yeti arch behind me. But this is me 42 miles into it. So I had done the Snoqualmie part and I'm ready to set off for my first lap of out to Crystal Springs. So I did an outfit change, but you see my skirt there. That's my rainbow unicorn skirt, and it's kind of my lucky skirt now. It got me two buckles. And there's a runner on the course, Christy. Her daughter was obsessed with unicorns, so she kept calling me 1,000 unicorns. Like she'd cheer for me whenever she saw me. So
what's on your socks?
Also unicorns and rainbows.
Okay. That's a fat unicorn.
Huh?
It's a fat unicorn.
Well, yeah, fat calves, so swollen calves.
Strong calves.
There we go.
Now this is Jason Green, right?
Yes. He's the race director for all of the Yeti racers.
Name.
He's amazing. He gives hugs to every one of his finishers, and I didn't cry this time. I bawled my eyes out during my first 100 because I was just so emotional, so in pain, and this went a lot better. So,
all right. Is this the same tunnel or a different tunnel?
This is the same tunnel, but from the opposite side. I'm about to go through it the second time to head back to Hayek, and those two gentlemen in front of me are Travis and Andrew. And I met up with them a few miles before this. They asked if they could go through the tunnel with me because they forgot to grab their headlamps again. So they didn't have lights. So we had been leapfrogging here and there. And they wound up doing a whole bunch of miles with me. So they were super cool.
Now this photo looks fun.
Yes. So the one holding the camera, that's Christy. She's the one who calls me 1,000 unicorns. And then Jeremy's his AKA Chad Ultra persona is super fun. But he was great. He introduced me to all of these awesome people. And then the gentleman on the right is Reggie. And apparently he's super unprepared for races, but he just has the most infectious attitude ever. He's just so pumped to be there, so happy that you're there. He just cheers you on as you go. He's so awesome. So those were 3 people who just turned this race around for me, made it super fun, and I appreciate them so much.
So wait, that's Chad in the middle?
Yep, that's Chad. His real name's Jeremy.
Chad is our newest Patreon. Thank you, Chad.
How wonderful is he? He's fantastic.
They'll give him his Patreon dues and the next time we do the real throws in a couple of weeks. But thank you. Yeah, if anyone wants to jump on that Patreon page like Chad there, go for it. We'd love to have you be a friend or a lover of the podcast. This is the honey bucket. You sent us this photo, maybe the first photo you ever sent us. What a spot for a porta potty, but they screwed up. There should be no door, and they should turn it around. Unless is the view just as epic on the other side?
No, I think there was a rock wall. But I sent this to the group chat saying pooping with a view. Because it was absolutely gorgeous, the mountain behind it. I mean, you could see that strip of cloud, so it's trying to peek up above the clouds, and it was just so gorgeous.
Oh, we got a video here.
Oh, this is me showing you there's the porta potty.
Yeah, there's the porta potty.
I think that actually might be a different one, but yeah, the views were just
how were
incredible.
The porta potties?
Spectacular, so
really
clean. Mm-hmm. Oh, and
nice.
there were bathrooms at the main aid station in Hayek, with running water, showers, and flushing toilets. So
okay, wow.
Fantastic.
Saw
that
the
one
tunnel
there was
again. Where
the
are we
start
here?
line. Oh, this was one of the trestles that we were crossing. It was over a huge valley, and I just wicked liked it.
Actually, I think there's a photo we'll have to find out on your Strava of a big bridge, because I don't think you sent it to me here.
Yeah,
it was hard. The views looked amazing.
They were, but it was really hard to find the good pictures, just out of the blue. But this was on the second half of the course, right before it started getting dark. It was just so pretty.
I saw that face, Mikala. That was the face.
Doesn't that just make you so happy? And you were probably in a little bit in a pain cave, even if it was early on in the race. But going into evening, and you're like, "Oh my god, this sucks! I'm so dumb for doing this. Why are people torturing?" And then you look up, and you're like, "I've never seen that color combination before in my life. How can I do this? How is it that I'm so lucky to exist on this planet?" Yeah. And then you realize you've gone 10 feet, and you still have a whole bunch more miles to.
Yeah, there were a lot of good stuff. So this was not race related, but we had taken a little hike because the mountain was out. Mount Rainier was out in its full glory. So we got to see it, and it is a spectacular mountain.
I am going to now move it to Strava.
Now it's my turn for him to creep on the Strava.
Here's
So
the
let me
Strava
just
photo.
tell you, while I
So
was
we saw this with Jason Green earlier.
yes. So while I was out here contemplating my life and how terrible I hurt at times and stuff, I was just thinking about Mikala and how much harder she had it with all of her climbs, and,
Yeah.
and I was just like, damn, she's so awesome. But it did help me.
Be honest,
because
you knew Mikala was going to crush it. You're like, I want
did.
to celebrate on the pod together and not have a DNF.
I mean, I didn't want to DNF anyways. I was pretty confident in my performance that I wasn't going to, and I had total confidence in yours, Mikala. I just knew you were going to smash that. So everything was just right with the world. Yeah,
This
see
photo
how
is
freaking
sick.
cool
I love
that
this
is?
photo.
Yeah, dude.
Except for that hand right there.
You can edit that out. Yeah.
Yeah. We should
I'll do
frame that.
magic eraser later. I didn't even notice
Yeah.
it.
Oh, this is cool. Amazing, Erika. So the Strava stats real quick. How the heck did your watch get so close to 100.01 miles?
Okay, for the record, my watch, this is the closest it's been. When I crossed the finish line, I was at 99.7 miles. So I had to
I'm
go
reading
a little...
the description.
Yeah, dude. I had to go over because I wanted the Garmin badge that had like 100 miles in one go. So I just said, all right, I could hobble around for a couple and do a little extra. But my first Yeti, my watch was so off. I had messed with the GPS because I wanted longer battery life. And I think I ended up with 95 miles, and I was like, I had no idea where I was on the course. Everything was screwy. This was the closest I've come to actually hitting it. So I was very excited. But yeah.
Yeah. 2,100 feet in elevation. Hey, I did more than that remote Washington.
Dude, I'm telling you, this
that was
really wasn't bad.
7.6 miles.
So the pass down to Snoqualmie, like through the tunnel and that stretch of it, on the way back, there was like a slight incline, and you barely felt it. You knew it was there, but whatever. That was the majority of the climbing. And
well, I don't care.
Bad.
You're still a badass, just like Mikala. Congratulations. The second. Oh, I think we got buried a lead here. Mm-hmm. It's a PR.
Yes. See, I told you. I learned things. I did better. I did an official time of 27:45, which is just like, it was very close to being 2 hours faster. I think it was like an hour and 45 minutes faster. So
you're a badass.
Much better.
You're
and
both badasses.
I got mine.
There it is.
Ooh.
This is like gold and silver, just the way that they did it. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. You're amazing.
A unicorn.
Great job,
See,
both you
that's
ladies.
where the unicorns go.
I will do it one day, but probably not until my 50s. I would love to do it sooner, but guys, kids, remember the adorable little ones you said I had there, Mikala? They're so cute and adorable. Yes, and they're probably destroying the downstairs right now. Again, why did I plan this on a Sunday at 7? I don't know.
I don't know either, dude.
It's a lot of fun.
Mikala's in the dark now.
I know. Yeah.
I can try to find a light.
My voice is holding up a little bit, I think. I think I'm doing okay. So, Well, this is great. Anything else we want to catch up on real quick? Let's about the race. Anything you want to add that we didn't? I know we kind of ran through yours really quickly, Erika. This wasn't the epic first ever 100-miler, and we'll have more later this year to talk about. I really wanted to focus on Mikala in Western States.
I wanted to focus on Mikala. That's the real stuff, the cool shit to talk about. So, I mean, I think we touched upon everything. I was really happy with what I learned from the first one. I brought it into the second one. Gators, let me tell you.
Did you fiddle fuck around at any aid stations with Brandon, or did you learn from the last one?
I mean, I did a little bit. It wasn't terrible, but it was mostly because I needed to change, and so it was not a lot of unnecessary time. Like I needed to stop.
Just crew.
Yep.
Okay.
So we were staying 5 minutes, like less than 5 minutes away from the place. Like the house was adjacent to the trail, but you just couldn't get to it because there was like a thick foliage. So he just had to drive around, and I would give him a call and say, hey, I'll be here in half an hour. Can you meet me? And so he would just drive. He had my pack in the car, and I would change and do whatever I had to do. So it was really nice that he could go off and do whatever he needed to do and didn't have to wait for me. And yeah, it was easier. And I mean, I really enjoyed it, you guys. Never thought I'd say that.
And by the time this drops, you would have have already attempted a 100 miler. Crazy.
I like how you said attempted because we don't know how that one's going to go
I
yet.
know. But this is awesome. Final question for Mikala. This is unrelated to the ultras, so thank you both for sharing the stories. But Mikala, if you remember last year when you were on the pod, or was that that was 2 years ago, we had the question, the Spotify song, you picked Raining Tacos, and then I would like creep through your Instagram and ask for a story. You had a photo, and I got the photo of your underwear. Remember that one? The classic photo of your underwear?
I remember that.
Long day underwear, speed work. I changed up my question. I no longer go creeping. Maybe I creep through some people's profiles, but I'm going to change mine every year. This year, I am building a list of Code Brown commandments. And a Code Brown commandment, I'm putting you on the spot here. It can be any kind of advice to avoid an oh crap moment. Code Browns, as you know, could be not legit. Like, it could be shitting yourself in a race. I use the example to break tape, which was yours. You broke tape to win that $300 to get that treadmill. But it's any oh crap moment, like running into a bear on the course or chafing. So my favorite Code Brown commandment is diaper rash cream cures chafing overnight. And people give us Code Brown commandments like don't trust a fart. And they might actually give us good ones like leave no trace or running advice for ultras. So with all your running experience, can you give us a Code Brown commandment, which is really just advice to avoid the oh shit or the oh crap moments, or it could be advice to avoid an actual legit Code Brown? Put you on the spot, but I want you to be part of this list, the Code Brown commandments.
Yeah, well, most of the ones you already mentioned are things that I do, like the baby Boudreaux's butt paste. That's, a good one. The lubing of the toes is always a good thing. Lubing of the butt cheeks is always a good one. I have these really nice silicone wipes that I use as my toilet paper mid-race because whatever's coming out of there is not a thing that should be stuck around. It should be coated in silicone and just, yeah. I'm rambling here because I haven't come up with a good one yet. That's why I'm still rambling. I will say there was a giant pile of human excrement on the middle of the Western States Trail. And this was a point of the course where almost everybody had a pacer with them. So I was very upset that, and I mean, it was a terrible portion of the trail where there's a hill on this side and there's a hill on this side. But somebody could have just shoot it off. And judging by the form and consistency and shape, it wasn't an emergency, right? It wasn't a puddle. It could have been done other places anyway. So the leave no trace one is a good one. I think I'm gonna stick with what we were talking about earlier. It's I didn't even pay attention to porta potties, so you should be comfortable going almost anywhere at any time, and just knowing how to take care of yourself in the woods efficiently, I think is an important part of doing ultras. One of my first ever ultras, this girl had never peed outside before, and she's like, I don't understand. How do I do this? Where do I sit? So yeah, I think being comfortable squatting anywhere, everywhere, and being able to get yourself back up from that squat at mile 85 is also important.
Thou shall be comfortable squatting anywhere at any time.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was a blast, guys. I hope you enjoyed us coming back during our little summer break. We'll be gone for another week or so, but we will have a real episode with another amazing guest next week that went long. So we're dropping just for our episode. It's going to be a blast. And then around the end of July, we'll be back for the Tros. So you guys rock. Good luck in whatever is next. I love you. Don't fear the Code Brown. And Erika, take us home.
Thanks for sticking with us. I hope you're having a great summer. Don't forget to stretch.
3, 2, 1.
he was swearing to. I'm like, you're a fucking badass.
Yeah, but that was before the record button was on. I want to make sure if I'm allowed to drop fuck bombs, there's going to be a lot of them.
Oh, I'll say it again and again and again. You're a fucking badass. So let him fly.